in 1, 2, and 3.
You're watching SchreckTeck, where tech is Shrecky. This show is sponsored by Synapse 3DI at www.synapse3di.com and by Relate Corporation at www.relate.com.
And good morning, everyone. This is SchreckTeck episode... I knew this before the show, and as always, I don't remember.
We should have looked at that. I think we're like 31 or something,
I think we're
aren't we?
31. I think we did
31.
30 2 weeks ago.
Where we've got some slight bags under our eyes.
Yeah, we're all
now.
tired. Well, I was gone last week. You were gone for a week.
We were both gone last week. So
doing
it never...
talks and trying to stay healthy, and I was gone for a week on a family vacation, which means there was no vacation. And
trip. You have to call it a trip.
It was a family trip, and we were tripped. And we're back. It is October 25th.
What is today? October 20th?
October 25th.
So this is the show before Halloween, and I did think a long time, what will I be for Halloween? Well, I'm always on my iPad. Stay with me on this. And I have named my iPad the Magical Unicorn. So I am on my iPad for my Halloween costume. It's a stretch, but you got to go with it. And it's too small for me to actually sit on it. So it's on, my iPad is on me today. But we do have a lot of fun things to talk about between apps and websites and the social world and how we use it. And then, scary technology. Some scary things to talk about in the world of tech. So
yeah, lots of good stuff.
Yeah. And there's so much going on that, even yesterday as I was thinking, okay, what are some of the other things that are in the news and, in the world of web? There's just there's always so much out there. But, some of the fun things that I think tie in with Halloween. And, we always say Facebook is always scary because there's always so many changes going on. And one of the scary things that everybody is hearing about, and I had to finally write a blog post about it because everyone was sending me email questions and Twitter questions about what is this thing about October 31st? People will be removed from your fan page if they have not interacted on your page. And so I saw a lot of business pages sending messages out saying, make sure you like or comment on something on my page before October 31st, or you will be removed from the page. That is not true. That is a rumor going around. And while it's a good ploy to get more engagement on your pages, it's not true.
It was started by Google, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's one of those things that Facebook has put more emphasis on. You will see content from pages that you engage with the most. But that has to do with the algorithm and the edge rank that, we've been talking about this for 6 months or so. The edge rank score of your post. So as a page administrator, when I put a post on my business page, it gets a score based on if people comment or like it or share it. It gets a higher score, which means it's going to stay in that top news story area longer for people in that circle of influence. And it goes much more technical than that, but that's a big part of it. And then if you put pictures, links, videos, things like that, if you add something to your post, it also gives it a higher edge rank score, allowing it to stay in that top news feed. And then time is the natural, they call it the time decay. The longer your post sits there, obviously the lower it goes in that top news story. Well, now this whole October 31st rumor that's going around, really what's going to happen is they're just making it more well known that the edge rank score will really play a part. If you don't see posts, and this is a question I get, I don't see posts from friends or from their pages, and I know I like their pages. It's because if you don't like or engage with that page, you're really not even seeing it. You haven't been removed from the page, but you're just not seeing the content because other content is pushing it down. So to re-engage, you go to their page, you can like something, comment on something, and it will help you start seeing their content more often. So I thought that was a good one to start with because that's out there right now, rampant. All these myths about what's going on in Facebook as of October 31st.
Now, what do you think? A lot of people are starting to head towards Google Plus. How do you feel about that? I'm actually disliking Facebook more and more right now. Other than family, I don't even know if I'd be on it right now. That's how I'm feeling. But that's just my feeling. I find it busy, noisy.
Yeah.
I don't like the new interface that much. I don't even like the new app that much, and you're going to talk about that later.
Yeah. And
I like the older one better.
Oh, do you now? What older app were you using?
I don't know.
Friendly?
There was some Facebook back. I'm not sure. It looked like the Facebook app, but it
Because
was.
it wasn't through Facebook.
It
There was one
wasn't,
called
yeah.
Friendly, and there was another one, but they were not
Okay.
sanctioned or
Interesting. I thought that one was better. It was cleaner, bigger icons, a little easier to read, less noisy again. I'm not sure I
Yeah.
like the stream.
And it's been out. This new Facebook sanctioned app has been out for a couple weeks on the iPad. And I mean, do you remember about a year ago when Mark Zuckerberg said Facebook or iPads are not a mobile device and Facebook is all about mobile? And there was this big controversy of how ridiculous that he's saying that an iPad is not a mobile
Right.
device, that he was really talking about the phones. They were focused on mobile apps for your phones.
Right.
And so that's why it took so long to come out with an iPad app for Facebook. I have it. I have the new Facebook app. Here, the problem is if you manage pages for your businesses, it's still easier to go through the browser. I go through Safari
Right.
on my iPad and I go to the different pages because then I can do everything there and I can see things as an administrator that I can't see on an app.
Right,
So,
and I think that's one of the issues, that it's not really fully functional. It has a lot more functionality, I
Right.
guess, than it did before. At
and it's a
least the
good consumption app to sit and read and browse and look at the pictures. And,
right.
So it's better than what's been out there as far as all the different functions that it offers for someone using Facebook, again, to comment, to like, to interact with your friends. But as a page administrator for a business, there's still not a good app. You still have to go directly through the browser. I just think that's your best way. Or to me, Hootsuite is the closest I have found if you're managing pages and social media platforms. Hootsuite to me is the magical tool. I use it on my iPad, I use it on my phone, I use it on my desktop, and I'm able to post content to a business page, to Twitter, to LinkedIn. I'm able to schedule posts so that during the show I can still have some content perhaps I want shared. I can use it more like a business tool. So yeah, it's interesting.
So is Hootsuite one of your favorite tools?
It is probably the tool I'm on the most because of what we do, and I'm able to go and see, we have a team of people that post content for other companies. So I'm able to flip over to a tab called Publisher on Hootsuite, and I can see all the posts that are going out for the companies we manage. And so I'm able to kind of see, okay, we've got content going throughout the day, and I like it as a page administrator. Yeah, it's great. And I didn't used to say that. I used to be a big Hoots or a TweetDeck person, but
Right.
I've converted.
I haven't noticed many changes now that TweetDeck's been acquired by Twitter.
I heard negative things so far. I've heard that it's that people are having more problems with it. Do you use TweetDeck?
I do. I use it on my PC. So desktop wise, I use TweetDeck. On my iPad, I use Osphora,
Right.
which seems to have gotten a little bit better. It was really slow for direct messages. If you had a lot of, let's say you have a lot of conversations with people offline on the direct messages,
Right.
the more they had, the slower it was to get your data. Now, it did something, I guess it was a new version recently, and it reset everything back to almost zero. So it's kind of good and kind of bad because all the conversations I wanted to save are gone.
And I loved Osphora. That was the first app I used for Twitter on my iPad. I thought that was a nicely laid out app. I liked it better than TweetDeck. But then when we started using Hootsuite, I switched over to Hootsuite even on my iPad. And I just, once you have your columns set up the way you like them and
Right.
you've got your lists and your search terms, it's easier as a tool for me than having to switch back and forth to different tools and searching for things. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I think I've
I
got to
like
get
it.
back into Hootsuite.
And I'll tell you, one of the new features that some people still don't know about on Hootsuite, it used to be if you put a picture, so if you wanted to post a picture, let's say of a big pumpkin, with your post this week on Facebook, on a business page on Facebook, and you were using Hootsuite, what would show up on your business page is the post with a link for the picture. So people would have to click on the link in order to see the picture. Well, most people don't do that. So Hootsuite came out with, and this has been out maybe a month now, where you can upload a photo and the pictures show up bigger than even a Facebook direct load. So the pictures are bold and they're great. I love the way Hootsuite is loading photos to Facebook. Now, obviously on Twitter, when you load a photo, it still comes up as a link, but then it'll show up on your Twitter profile as a picture you've recently loaded. So there's some cool things that Hootsuite did that I really like, and especially with the photos on Facebook. Really nice size that they stand out. And that's always the key on Facebook. If you're going to post, you got to stand out. Otherwise, there's too much stuff,
Right, too much noise.
too much noise. But I do have to show you a couple fun little gadgets that I picked up this week. And one is this creepy spider podium. And they make them for your iPads, tablets, or phones. Now, at first glance, it's really creepy. And as a matter of fact, even when it's sitting on your dashboard in your car, it's creepy. But what I love about the spider podium, and I think I paid $20 for it, so it's about $10 overpriced in my opinion, because it's just a piece of rubber-coated wire. But when I'm in my car and I have my GPS working, I lay my phone on the dashboard so I can hear the GPS giving me directions, but then I can't see the map if I needed to just quickly look at something. And then if I put it down where I can see it, sometimes it loses the satellite. So in crawls Spider Podium. Cool device, cool little gadget. And, you can put it any way you want, and you just wrap the creepy legs around the spider thing. And it's good for your desk if you want to set it on your desk. So kind of a fun little creepy Halloween. And Rick, do you have any phobias?
Not really. I don't think I like heights all that much, but other than that, no.
That's it. Spiders are my only phobia.
No, they don't bother me.
And I really think it has to do with not being educated, because about each spider, I can hold a tarantula. I've gone to many places where they have tarantulas there, and I will pick it up and I'll let it crawl across my hand. No fear whatsoever. Because in my mind, I'm thinking, obviously it's safe. But if I see a spider crawl across, yeah, if I see a spider crawl across my floor, I don't care how small it is, I won't even kill it. It's like I can't even touch it. So, I started researching. Are there apps to help your phobias? And lo and behold, there are. It is pretty darn funny, the things that you can find on an iPad or iPhone or Android. And I just did a search for phobias, and for $10, you can download an app that will cure you of your spider phobias. They have one for fear of heights, fear of public speaking. They have hypnosis apps. So if you have a phobia that's paralyzing, it might be worth $10. But if you only want to pay 99 cents, you can just get a dictionary that tells you about them. And I did download the phobia dictionary, and I love some of these phobias. So, and I made up one yesterday. I have geriatrotechnophobia. You know
Fear
what
of
that
getting
is?
old?
Geriatrotechnophobia.
Fear of getting outdated.
The fear of old technology.
Old technology. Okay.
So that's why I have to always buy new gadgets.
Gina, did you know that your Android is one level behind?
I know mine is this is the Nexus S, and
Yes.
I think it is outdated already. It's
Now,
a year old.
we were talking a little bit in the pre-show about phones, and in about 1 to 2 weeks, Motorola is releasing the Razr. That's going to be a beautiful phone. This is on Verizon, And they're also releasing on Verizon the Samsung Galaxy Nexus,
Right.
which is 4.65-inch screen. It is gorgeous. It has a
Wow.
slight curve to it so that you can put it on your face and it just kind of curves with the face a bit.
Which mine does have that. The
Yeah,
Nexus S has
it's
slight.
nice. And I'm looking at the iPhone 4 thinking, who cares? I have an iPhone 4, but the 4S just seems like who cares. And so I'm actually going to Android in about 2 weeks as far as phone.
That's
And we talked about this too, that ever since the iPad came out, I find my phone much more irrelevant.
right.
So I use it more for phone calls, but I want a bigger screen. I always thought the Apple phones were just too small. I mean, if you're going to get a smartphone, give it a big screen. Otherwise, it gets hard to read, especially.
But then, where do you carry your phone? Because am I concerned
I
with
have
the
it on my
big
belt.
Oh, you're the Tim the Tool Man
Right,
phone
right.
carrier.
I have it on my belt. In fact, here. This is the.
You know, they should make belt buckles
So it's got a
out of
belt buckle.
their
It's got a little
iPhone.
buckle. You can attach it here, so it's got the little clip,
Okay.
and so iPhone pops out. Boom,
Yeah,
iPhone.
that's a little too geeky for me, is the whole belt clip.
Well, see, guys have belts though.
Guys, yeah. Well, women have belts, but we don't want big things hanging from them, pulling our pants down.
True.
Yeah, that is interesting
Well,
because
I'm not a
mine-
plumber. I'm not a plumber, so it doesn't hang that much.
so you still have the dad pants that
That's
stay up.
right.
Well, and I mine fits in my pocket. Although, see, I don't like the case on it
Now,
because
I
it
heard a
does
lot of
make
women
it-
put it in their back pocket, which I find interesting. Don't you?
I do.
You
I
sit
put
on
mine
your
in my
phone.
back pocket.
And how many times have you dialed? So they call it butt dialing.
You know, as long as I turn it to black screen,
Then it's okay.
it doesn't do it. And I have a lock on my screen, so I do have those steps that help prevent butt dialing. But I do know that is a problem. But I think it's easy just to whip out your phone when it's in your back pocket. But then teenagers that put it in their back pocket, their jeans are so tight that it's always falling out.
That's
So,
right. That's why you need a thin phone.
Exactly.
And these new
But-
phones that are coming out are very thin. The Razor is, I think, 5 millimeters, 5.5 millimeters. That is really thin. That's
So out of all of them that you're looking at, which one do you think you're
I,
going to?
you know, I'm between the Razor and I need to look at the Nexus. I haven't seen really much of it yet.
Right.
But both of those, I like the 4.6-inch screen. That's not bad. My wife keeps joking that what I really want is about a 27-inch phone, so I can just walk around with it going, "Hey."
I think as Americans, and probably even not even Americans, I think everybody, here we have these ginormous screens that just keep getting bigger in our houses. And then we had tiny little phone screens that are now getting bigger and bigger.
Right.
Somehow these are going to morph together.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that is interesting. Yeah, Don had the original Razor. Do you remember those little pretty
I had two of them.
first?
Yep, I had those. I
Yeah.
had a nice silver Razor. It was a really good phone with a crappy battery.
Yeah,
Battery
and
went out a lot, and but I liked the phone.
that is interesting. Well, whether you're on iPhone or Android, we do have to talk about our personal assistants
Yes.
because artificial intelligence can seem scary to some because they're thinking of Hal in what is it, Odyssey, Space Odyssey. You know, Hal was the creepy robot
That's right,
that
Hal.
scared everyone.
That's right, Gina.
That's right, Gina. And he had a very soothing voice, but
He did.
scared everyone.
He scared everyone, but I don't know why, Gina.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone out there is already using Siri, but I have actually seen and interacted with Siri.
Well, we have a little video of it.
Let's see what Siri's all
I
about.
don't know if you and I will be able to hear it, but our audience
I
will.
can hear it as long as I turn my volume back up
Oh, okay. Here we go.
over here.
I think I love you.
Is that so?
I also think you're beautiful.
Thanks. Can we get back to work now?
You are gorgeous.
I don't really like these arbitrary categories.
What's the meaning of life?
I don't know, but I think there's an app for that.
Can you tell me a joke?
Two iPhones walk into a bar. I forget the rest.
Can you tell me a joke?
I can't. I always forget the punchline.
So that's one of them. That's Siri on the iPhone. Now,
That
I
is
used to work on a
hilarious.
when I was younger, back in college days, long time ago. We had a program called Eliza, Eliza. Now, Eliza was one of the first artificial intelligence programs. You would say something like "hello," it would say "hello" back, and then you would say things like, "I don't feel well today." It would respond, "Why don't you feel well today?"
Oh,
And you would
wow.
say, "I have a cold." And it would say, "Do you have a cold because of a problem you had with your mother?" And
What?
so it was like a little Freudian psychology thing, but it was really rather interesting.
Yeah.
And that was the beginning of artificial intelligence way back when. And it's gotten obviously a lot more sophisticated. I have not had the chance to play with Siri yet, and it doesn't
Eh,
run on the iPhone unless you buy the 4S, which is sort of
Right,
interesting.
right. It's not an app that you can download.
No.
So it does come on 4S,
In
and I
fact,
have,
a warning. There is an app out there called Siri, Siri, but it is not the same thing. It's some sort
oh,
of German app that I have no idea what it actually does, but I think that's a little misleading, and I don't know. They had the same name. I don't know if it had it before or after, but
well, Apple bought a company that had a product, Siri, that was artificial intelligence. They bought that company a few years ago, and so it could be that maybe they had an app. I don't know. I don't know if there's a
but but
correlation between
but this
that,
one
but
isn't an artificial intelligence app, so I'm not sure. It looks more like a calendar kind of organization app, so it's a little bit different.
okay. So it's different. Yeah, it's interesting because last week I had some folks in our audience that when I spoke at these conferences that had the 4S, and we did the thing of just saying, "What's for dinner?" And Siri would say, "Here are restaurants in your area," and it would list a bunch of restaurants. What kind of food are you interested in? So it was really cool, and I was getting a little jealous and envious of wanting a personal assistant like that. And then on Friday night, as I was leaving Dallas, I was just reading through a bunch of things on Zeit and saw that Android
Hmm.
has a personal assistant out, and they took Siri and spelled it backwards, and Iris was born. Now, what's interesting to me is that Dexetra is the company of developers. I believe they're out of India. They took this challenge. They wanted to see if they could create using, I mean, you think about it, Android, Google, they've got all the voice activation already. They've got the software search, voice search. They've got all kinds of things. So these guys took a challenge to see if they could do it in 8 hours. They wanted to put an app out there in 8 hours, and they did. And so immediately Friday, as I'm flying home, one of the stops I downloaded Iris, and was blown away. First of all, how funny Iris is, and also same voice. Iris and Siri, I think, are evil twin sisters.
They're similar, yeah. In
They're
fact, we
very
have a little
similar.
video on that.
Oh, do you have the video
We
for
have a little
Siri? I mean,
video
Iris?
from this is the Iris video from Thin Peter. Here
Oh,
we
I love
go.
it.
Is it cold out today?
You asked, is it cold out today?
I did. Just waiting.
Is it cold in outer space? Freezing.
Yeah, so it is cold in outer space. Where can I go have food tonight?
You asked how tall we're gonna go have food tonight.
How tall we're gonna go have food tonight? No, where can I go to have food
Tall
tonight?
enough.
Tall enough. Call Tina.
You call who?
Call Tina.
Call who?
Tina.
Call who?
Tina.
Call who?
Tina.
Call who?
I love that guy.
Okay, here's the funny things that I asked and got answers to. First, I asked Iris. I said, Iris, can you name the planets in order from the sun? And she says, no. And then my husband asked, he said, what is my wife's name? and it came back and said, Becky, oh hecky. We're like, what the heck is this? So I said, who is Gina Schreck? And she says, my cat. Okay, it's just the personality that they put into this is so funny, because then I said, are you always this sarcastic? And she replied, are you always this obnoxious? It was, now the one that was funny and blew our minds, because I saw the linking of command number 1 to command number 2. On Sunday, we were driving to church, and I said, should we go to church? And Iris comes back and says, yes. And then the girls, my daughter in the back seat said, ask, what is she wearing? So I said, what are you wearing? And Iris came back with, did you seriously just go from religion to hitting on me? It was so funny that it could link those things together.
Yeah.
We were just crying hysterically, laughing about Iris, and so.
But it sounds like it's more of a comedy app than a useful app.
Yeah. So far, I've only gotten a couple real answers. When I said, how far is the sun from the earth? She actually came back with 93 billion miles and actually gave all the details. But that was pretty much the only serious answer that I got from Iris.
Interesting.
So it is, if you want to just have a hilarious party game this week, definitely download Iris. Available on any Android device.
That sounds like it was developed by those guys who do the Metro PCS commercials, which I still don't get.
Now, and which leads me to an article that I read in CNN about women's voices being on all of these devices.
Right.
A female voice, except in Germany. They said where the Germans will not take directions on their GPS from women, which is pretty darn funny.
Well, no, because in Germany it's a little bit different. You will turn right now.
Yeah,
turn left, right.
And she's
it's a different mindset.
Which is, I think, kind of interesting. If you have on your GPS where you could choose a voice, did you choose male or female voice?
I choose female.
That is interesting. I had a male voice, and then we ended up changing it to a female because I didn't want to be on the phone and have people hear a male voice.
Well, I have a friend, I think it's a TomTom, and you could actually download your own sounds to it. So he's got things like, hey, big guy, it's time to turn right.
No.
Yeah, so he put all these little funny things into his TomTom, and it's absolutely hilarious. So you can have all sorts of fun with that. But they've done studies that women will tend to go for the male voice, men will tend to go for the female voice.
Right.
And that's the same thing in e-learning. If you have a predominantly male audience, put a female voice in. If you have a predominantly male audience, put a female audience, put a male voice in.
Interesting. Well, and there's all these studies that say a female voice is more soothing, but they did say that male robotic voices tend to creep people out. So when you think about scary movies where there's, the robots take over, they tend to be, well, I don't know if they tend to be male, because now I've seen some female scary robots, but maybe there's still that whole thing of Hal coming back to haunt us. But
well, right now what they're trying to do is make robots emos, so that way they can communicate with the majority of society.
And they just kind of talk very depressed
or screaming hysterically, one of the two.
I think it's really exciting. I think the whole Siri, Iris, even Iris being sarcastic and funny, I think this is a really exciting time where we're looking at how these apps will soon be able to dialogue with us. Not that they can come in and live in our house, but that would be great if they could clean. But I like the concept of being able to give voice commands and search for things using voice. I used to use a service called Jot, and I could talk and it would send out a tweet, or I could talk into my phone and it would send someone a text message. It was voice to text, and Jot went out of business. And there's several out there that are like that. But I like this concept of this artificial intelligence and Siri. Really cool. That is the one app right now that I'm kind of envious of the iPhone user.
As we have less and less human intelligence, artificial intelligence, I guess, will take over.
It can't be bad. It can't be bad. But I want to share a website and give a shout out to Tony McLaurin. Tony, I hope I'm not saying your last name wrong off the top of my head, but he has this cool website and he reached out to me. It's called What's Out My Window, and it's real what I see out my window. So if you go to whatiseeoutmywindow.org, what I see out my window. I think, Tony, some feedback. I think you need a better background on your website, but it's a really cool concept of getting a view from around the world of what people see out their windows. And I posted last week a view out my office window, and it was beautiful. And I can't wait. Tomorrow I'll take one of our 12 inches of snow. But I thought it was a really cool social sharing site that I don't know that this will take off. I don't know. I really want to get Tony on the show and ask him what is his vision for this, because it's like a cool concept. People load up not just a picture, but he wants them to share a paragraph of what are we looking at, and whether it's your hotel room, whether it's your office, but getting people to share what they're seeing out their windows. So kind of a shout out to you, Tony. I think it's a really cool idea. I'd love to talk to you more about what you want to see this take off to be. But it's a really fun site, and you don't get really pulled down the rabbit trail too much like you do on Pinterest or Stumbled Upon or any of those sites. But it's a very interesting concept of bringing the world together and looking at the views from different windows. So I just wanted to give him a shout out because I think it's a cool concept. And check out whatiseeoutmywindow.org. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so let me know when I have one other app I have to share.
Let's go for it.
Okay, because there are people who wait to the last minute and they try to figure out, they're invited to a costume party this week and Halloween coming up this weekend. I hate Halloween, by the way. It's my least. I literally just can't wait for it to just be over. I hate all the scary stuff and zombies. I don't know. I just find that all so creepy. But
there's an app for that.
there is an app. That's why I downloaded my phobias. I'm going to find out. Maybe there's a fear of just scary, bloody faces on everything. But for those of you who are saying, I just don't know what costume to wear, there is a free app on the iPhone and iPad that is so funny. It's a costume chooser. And we downloaded this and we're playing with it, the Schrecklet and I. So there's scary music. It kind of reminds me of an old fun house. But you spin the dial, and then it tells you a super Viking. Larry, this is your costume, the super Viking. I think he said he was wearing his Viking helmet. You spin it again, and it comes up with Pez Lincoln.
Candy.
Pez Lincoln. With sound effects. I love it. So there is a pregnant clown. There was an emo gnome. Rasta Kong. It's free and it's fun and you can't go wrong.
Now, what's it called?
Costume Chooser.
That's cute.
And the app, Costumizer. Costumizer is the name of the app, and it looks like a little skeleton head, black icon with a skeleton head. Costumizer, and a lot of fun. You can come up with some fun costume ideas right there.
And this proves no matter how bad our economy is, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
We have a lot of time on our hands.
Yeah, exactly. You always wonder, who developed that app?
Uh-huh.
How much time did it take?
Well, what's really cute is the way he or she, whoever did the circles, the graphics look good, the font usage. It's really cute.
It's cool. And everything it lands on has sound effects that go with that item.
That's really clever.
Really cute. Yeah. So check out your Costumizer, and and if you're afraid of any of the scary things, there are phobia apps for you, ranging in price from $1.99 to $10 to rid yourself of that fear once and for all.
I have a fear of fear.
You have what fear?
A fear of fear.
A fear of fear.
What do you do for that?
I feel like I'm a pretty brave person, adventurous, but when it comes to spiders, I can hold a snake, I can pick up a snake, but spiders, Don't know what it
It's
is.
like that old song. I don't like spiders and snakes.
Yeah, but that ain't what it takes. That is a great song. I need
It's
to
a
look
cute
that
song.
up
Oh
today.
yeah, some Stafford. What was his name? Bob
Yeah, what
Stafford?
was his name?
Bob
Chat room.
Stafford? Bill
Who sings
Stafford?
that? Spiders and
Somebody
Snakes.
Stafford.
Bill Stafford.
Bill Stafford.
I don't know. I'm making that up. Um, yeah, I remember that song. And that ain't what it takes to love me. Okay, well, now you might be afraid of me singing. I don't know if there's an app for that. But
Was it Fear of
yeah,
Gina app?
so
The Fear of Gina app?
Fear of Gina app. That could be in development right now.
Gina!
So you go to any costume parties? What do you do on Halloween?
Me?
Yeah.
I locked the door, barricaded,
I
turn
knew-
the lights
I know,
off.
it's like Rick's the
Get
one
a
that
rifle
turns
and be
the
ready.
lights right. See where we live.
But we get no kids where we
they-
live because we're on kind of a cul-de-sac that's uphill. There's only three
Right.
houses on the cul-de-sac, and as a result,
you don't get anybody.
nobody's ever around. So
Yeah.
there's no return on investment for the kids. I think we've had 2 kids in the last 15 years show up.
That's interesting.
So
We
that's not bad.
probably get 6 or 8 kids. So I'm always one of those houses that I go and buy the big candy bars, because I figure that if they're going to come out, we have no street lights in our whole neighborhood. There's
Right.
no street lights, and so if they're going to come out and really adventure up this dark street, it's going to be worth it. So, I'm ready for them. I love seeing all the costumes.
Some of them are
Yeah.
pretty good.
And here's something exciting that I'm doing this afternoon. First time, and Larry, you'll be able to appreciate this. And I don't know if Terrence is in the chat room, but I'll be leading a group today. I'm teaching a class in Second Life. So talk about Halloween costumes. You can go all out. And I believe Larry has a jester costume that I have seen in Second Life. And so my avatar will be flying high today, teaching a group of entrepreneurs about social business. And we're doing it in Second Life. So
And you haven't been on Second Life in a while, have you?
while, it's been a couple months since I've even logged in. So it's kind of sad. I really miss that environment. And this past week in Dallas at the PMI conference, there were a lot of people there from IBM. We had folks from Cisco. There were actually lots of tech companies there, and we got in the discussion of Second Life, and they're still big users. I didn't know this, but they're still holding a lot of their meetings and things in Second Life in their campuses. So we were talking about the sadness that I felt of that technology just not becoming more readily available and easy for people to log into. To me, it's still so cool and creative. And there's so many great things you can do in there that it makes me sad that isn't easier for people to use. So, but I'll be using it today.
And I think
I'm
that's the
excited.
key. It's not as simple as it could be.
Yeah, it's just, you have to have a pretty robust video card. And I think, again, newer computers all have it. They all have the capabilities.
Sure.
But if anybody's on older systems, it's just really hard. But I'm excited for that today. I might have to go get a little Halloween mask and put that on my avatar. And it's kind of, for women, it's kind of like playing paper dolls. You get to dress up your avatar. But that's all I've got. Let's see, can we have a SchreckTeck show from Second Life? I would love to. The problem is to stream from there,
It's probably a little tricky. We could probably do it, though.
And we've done sessions where everybody met in there, but then there were some people who couldn't log on. But Jeff, I would love to, anybody wants a tour, I've got a campus. We built out a campus, and there's some cool learning environments and office space and things for people to meet. So let me know if ever you want to pop in there. We have a big orientation area.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well,
But
anyway,
with that, do we have any chains or creepy music?
no, not today. No creepy music.
No creepy music. I need my
I
my
actually
sound
forgot
effects.
totally forgot about Halloween for the show
I'm all about the themes.
themes.
Next week, our theme is going to be time, because it's daylight savings time is
True.
next weekend.
I thought it was moved back a week or two.
It's November. It's that first week in November.
Oh, okay, so they did.
Instead of this weekend, it's next weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll be looking at time. Does anyone really know
what time it is?
Does anyone really care?
Any guests next week, or is it just us?
What's that?
Any guests next week, or is it just us?
It is just us. We are all alone. I did line up somebody, and now this morning I was going, when did I tell them they were going to be on? But maybe I'll have Tony come on just for 10 minutes and share his vision for that website, and then we'll get some time.
That sounds good.
Time topics.
Well, everybody, all those in the chat room, thanks for being here, and we will see you next week on
SchreckTeck. And remember, check out our show notes and things on our Facebook page, facebook.com/SchreckTeck. You don't even have to be a Facebook user to access that. So you can go and check out all the past episodes on SchreckTeck on Facebook. So hopefully you'll connect with us there. We will see you next week. Have a safe and fun Halloween.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah!
Yay! My magic unicorn.